It is 4:01, so let's go ahead and get started. So let me officially kick it off here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the HubSpot Video Marketing Study Group office hours. This is September 21st, 2023. So we have another edition for you of office hours. Let us know who you are in the chat, first and foremost. I see Russell's already chatting it up in the chat there. So let us know if you're here. Let us know who you are, your location, position, company. And the most important thing is if you're video marketing certified. We always like to know, kind of gauge who is and who is not. If this is your first time here, my name is Aaron Oberdick. I am the video marketing manager of Nextiny Marketing.
And I am Corey Christian. I am the multimedia marketer here at Nextiny Marketing.
And we run these every single month. So if you want to go ahead and go to the video marketing office hours page, you can register for the future upcoming events as well. And the idea here is really, we come in here every month and we talk about some video news, some updates, and some cool releases and whatnot. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. First things first, if you are not part of the HubSpot Video Marketing Study Group, we highly recommend that. It's a great opportunity to join this and just talk amongst like-minded people who are in the HubSpot community, who are talking about video, asking questions, giving solutions, things like that. So if you have any questions video related, whether it's marketing or not, it could be video production, post-production, whatever it may be, you can definitely join this group, ask your questions there, and you will get an answer. And moving on to the next slide here is going to be the agenda. So relatively quick office hours today. We're going to cover mainly the bootcamp updates, what we're going to be changing from the last bootcamp to this next upcoming bootcamp. Maybe you don't even know what bootcamp is. We're going to talk a little bit about what it is, right? And then we have a few questions from the study group we always like to kind of touch on and answer as well. And then we'll jump into Q&A if you guys have any questions at the end here. All right, so bootcamp updates. And first and foremost, bootcamp for video marketing, sales, and service. What exactly is it, right? So if you're asking, what is this? Basically, it is a free workshop where you can come sign up, and Corey and I are going to be teaching it. It's currently advertised as a 6-week bootcamp, but it's actually going to be 4 weeks this time around. I think it starts on October 3rd, if I'm not wrong there, Corey. Do you know the exact day?
It's the 4th.
The 4th.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so October 4th on Wednesday, that's when we're going to be starting. I don't know if registration's open for that.
Still, I don't know if there's still, I believe there's still seats available. But if you click the link in the chat, that will take you to the application for the fall 2023.
Beautiful. And there's also, I think, registration for the following one as well, or am I making that up?
Yeah, it'll go ahead and just put you basically into the pool of them. If you are not available to make this one, you'll be added into the roster for the next one.
Awesome. So yeah, like Corey just mentioned, that starts October 4th. And don't worry if you do not get into that one, you'll be signed up and registered for the following one, which I believe is either in December or January, somewhere around that scope. So we'll figure that all out. Well, let's talk a little bit about what bootcamp is now that we've discussed it, the start dates. So we talked about it's going to be basically a 4-week course where we go through a lot of different opportunities for you to learn video from start to finish. So think of it in the sense of week 1, we're going to go over some video analytics, statistics, why companies are doing video, how it's helped their marketing strategy, so on and so forth. So some really valuable information. And then we jump into ideas and concepts. So some videos you can start recording today. Then we go into pre-production, production, and post-production. So the 3 main phases of creating a video. And then once we have it all wrapped up, we go over some analytics and we look at some statistics, how we can improve our videos. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely register for the upcoming boot camps. I think this next slide actually is that. So that's the page there. You can apply on the page for the next video bootcamp, and you will be registered and ready to go. All right. And of course, if you guys have questions about anything we're discussing throughout this office hours, please let us know in the chat and we'll answer it towards the end during our Q&A. All right. So questions from the study group. We really like to highlight a few of the questions because there's always interesting questions coming in. It can be from very advanced people in video. It can be as simple as very basic questions people are just starting to get into video. And so there's a wide array of questions that kind of float around. So let's touch on a few here. And this question, I don't have LED lights to make myself bright. How do I fix my dark screen? And this is compounded, I believe, off of last office hours, where we did talk a little bit about some LED lighting that you can pick up for relatively cheap, right? But you don't have the budget for it, no problem. What can I do to improve my overall framing here if it's a little bit dark and I don't have LED lights? So some solutions that we did come up, right? First and foremost, use a window if you have available. I have no artificial lighting on me right now. Everything is natural. So you can see, like, if I kind of hold my hands up, you can see how the shadows are covering because I have natural light coming in. And it's actually pretty stormy out, right? It's not even super sunny and bright. So this is relatively decent lighting. Ideally, I would like to have some sort of backlight that's pulling me out from the background. But overall, this is relatively good, right? So windows are your best friend when you're looking for any sort of lighting for a video. Always kind of place that window relatively in front of you, maybe not directly in front of you, but a little bit offset so the light is coming in just at an angle. Then, right, okay, you don't have LED lights, but you probably have some sort of light source in your home. Do you have a desk lamp? Whether it's an overhead light that you just can re-angle, that's also another opportunity. And then let's say you have a really, really bright light and it's just overpowering and you don't know how to utilize it. Use a diffuser of some sort, right? You can get creative, right? You can use a thin white bed sheet that typically diffuses the light really well. People also pick up cheap shower curtains and to use as a diffuser. So that's a really good opportunity as well. And then last, reflect light, right? Let's say you have a light source, but it's just not at the correct angle you're looking for. Take a piece of cardboard and wrap aluminum foil around it once. Boom, you have a makeshift reflector, right? There's also reflectors that you can pick up on Amazon. They have like silver and gold reflectors, so it kind of changes the different coloring a little bit. But overall, there's a lot of opportunities to get light if you do not have LED lighting or dedicated light fixtures. Corey, you have anything to add there beyond that?
Yeah, one of the things, just kind of when you're talking about desk lamps and light sources that you already have, that I was thinking was, don't be afraid to swap out bulbs. Like, you can always go and, I mean, they have LEDs even at like the dollar store, but you can go on Amazon and buy, really high power light bulbs so that when, you're using just all of your normal lamps and room lights and things like that. Like right now, for example, the lamp behind me, this is actually just a normal room light. It's quite bright. I have a ring light on as well, but you can see that kind of hair light that I have on. That's just coming from a light bulb in my office here, but it's just very bright. So it's an option just to kind of help increase the overall light level of your location. And things with reflectors, like as well, I was going to kind of mention, don't be afraid to, like Aaron said, get creative with things like wrap, aluminum foil or something. Yeah. They also have like insulation, like foam core boards at like Home Depot that are like a thick foam that have already kind of mounted on it a really nice reflective material. But honestly, it's really a good investment to throw one of those like 5-in-1 collapsible reflectors in your bag, because they usually have like a diffusion material on it as well. So if you're outside, you can just kind of hold it over someone while they're interviewing or kind of getting them on camera, and it'll really kind of make sunlight even really nice and kind of soft. So it's just, it's a matter of getting creative and kind of looking at the light in your scenario and thinking, what can I do to this? Do I increase the overall room level? Do I help kind of filter it and make it a little bit softer, or maybe try to match the color temperature from the window light with some of the room lighting? So all just kind of things to consider. Like, just take a look at your image and just kind of make those decisions based on what it needs. It's different every location you go to, every room you go to, every camera you use. So it's just something to kind of train your eye to kind of notice.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and jump on to the next question here. Very relatable. Sometimes it takes me several tries before I feel comfortable with recording myself. How can I fix this? Right. And I want to preface this by saying I've been recording myself for several years now, and it's still not easy, right? It still comes with its hiccups and issues. So, biggest thing is just practicing and practicing, right? Like, I can confidently say that the first time I got in front of camera, I was deer in headlights. Like, I could not speak, I couldn't think. You really can't do anything. But over time, you kind of get over those things, right? You get more comfortable. The process becomes a little bit easier. It becomes, you don't have to think about every step of getting your camera set up and your microphone set up, right? You're just thinking about recording and the actual content. So practicing is probably the most important advice we can give you. But we did prepare a slide that is definitely helpful, right? And this is what our CEO, Gabriel, uses typically when he has a little bit of a longer video that he needs to record that's a little bit more scripted. And that's teleprompters. You can see from the image, actually, that is his exact setup. He puts his phone ever so slightly right below the lens of the camera. And then he goes ahead and just clicks play on it. And it just slowly drifts, right? It slowly drifts up and you can slowly read off how the script is entailing, right? Now, I want to also take a step back and say that practicing is more important than going out and buying a teleprompter. You don't want to have to rely on a piece of equipment or material to get you through a video, right? You should become more natural on camera as you record video, and you'll basically use a teleprompter more as an accessory to help you versus a necessity that you would need to record the video. Corey, you have anything to add on getting more comfortable on camera or teleprompters in general?
Yeah, just trying not to memorize things, and even when you're working with a teleprompter, trying not to read everything directly. You really want to try to have a certain degree of confidence with the material that you're speaking about, so that it comes out sounding very naturally. It's okay if there is a few stumbles, or if there are a few uhs and ums every once in a while, right? That's what editing's for. But at the end of the day, being confident in that material that you're delivering, and kind of not necessarily memorizing it and saying, like, I have to hit all these exact marks. It's like, no, get the main takeaways, right? You know what you're going to say, and now just speak with confidence.
Right.
That I think is usually a big one for people, more than try to memorize things. When I use a teleprompter, for example, I just put bullet notes so that I can remember those key points, and then I can kind of refer back to them. And I have those phrases ready for me to kind of be like, oh, okay, that's what I want to drive home, is that exact point, rather than let me read a whole script off and memorize all this.
Absolutely. It's good additions. So let's go ahead and continue here. We have another question that I want to cover. This one, I already own an older digital camera. Can I use it as a webcam? And this is prefaced off of the idea that we talk about in our boot camps and our office hours. We have utilized some of our DSLRs and mirrorless cameras as a webcam in the past. So this person is asking, can I use my camera? And the short answer is most likely, but there is typically some sort of figuring out you have to do, right? So you can see from this slide that the first things first is, plug it in to test it with your computer. Does your computer read the camera? Do you need some sort of external software? Like Sony usually has like Sony image capturing software that you use. And it's like a dedicated plug and play kind of software. So a lot of different situations for an older camera. It also depends on the connection, right? Is it HDMI? Is it USB? What's the information? Can it send? Can it not send? So the main thing is search for any sort of video output on your camera. And if you can't find a video output, then maybe go to the manufacturer's website, find the specific model you have, and then find if there's any sort of video output that it can do. There's also a device called a capture card. And so typically a camera can send video out, but that capture card then converts that video signal into your computer and then makes it acceptable for you able to essentially stream with that camera. So there's a lot of moving parts with it, but we definitely recommend you researching your specific model of camera before you move forward with any purchases to try to get it to work. Corey, you have anything to add there?
Yeah, just one of the things that I know often trips people up is they will look on their computer and see an HDMI port on their computer and be like, oh, awesome, HDMI. I'll take an HDMI from my camera, plug it into my computer, and that should just work, right? But the HDMIs on your computer are always outputs only and not bi-directional, so they don't take video in. So that's where the need for those Blackmagic recorders or something like that would come in handy to allow you to convert HDMI to a USB or Thunderbolt signal.
Absolutely. Cool. And so those are the 3 questions. We typically like to pick 3 questions and highlight those ones. So those were the 3 we picked for this month. And then there's one last thing I do want to touch on here. There is an announcement by DJI. So every month it feels like they come out with something new, but Mini to the Max, who knows? Is it a camera? Is it a drone? Don't know. But if you're interested in DJI products like Corey and I are, check out on September 25th at 9 a.m. Eastern. It looks like they're going to have another product announcement. So that's always exciting. And then now I'm going to go ahead and shift it over to Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, now would be the time to put it in the chat. Corey and I are going to hang out here for just a few minutes, probably about 4:20 if no one answers, and then we'll go ahead and shut it down. If you do have a question, now's the time. And then while we wait for questions, Corey, you have any thoughts on what that DJI product might be?
Well, it says Mini, so I am assuming that it's one of the new mini drones. It kind of looks like the front of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've released so many models lately. Not to say that they're competing with themselves or anything, but like they've updated a lot of the product line, so it almost feels like maybe it's something kind of new. Like I know there already is like a various new minis, and there is the Mavics and all these things. The word Max makes me interested. I'm curious what that means. I'm curious if it's going to be a mini size drone with maybe really good capability or something. Who knows? But it definitely looks interesting. You can do that thing where you bring it into Photoshop and really crank the levels on it and try to pull out all those little hidden details in there.
Contrast and bring the shadows up. Yeah. Russell did actually just send something in the chat. I have 6 weeks of video bootcamp sessions on my calendar. Will you send an updated schedule? Russell, actually, the calendar is exactly what it is. We have the 6 weeks planned out. The idea, though, is to just take the first 4 weeks and get through the entire bootcamp, and then the last 2 weeks basically are just removed at that point. But HubSpot has not yet updated that calendar schedule. So do not worry though. You have the correct links on your calendar.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So it looks like I think that's probably about it. I'll go ahead and wrap this up now. So if you guys have additional questions, of course, the study group is a great place to ask there. And we do this again once a month. So make sure you register for the next office hours, and we'll see you there.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. See ya.